What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday night. We are back, the scoop on the U. And this offseason, Ross, it is repetitive. Another offseason, different coaching changes, new hires. Um, it's going to be another interesting season. We have Shannon Dawson coming in, the offensive coordinator from Houston. Once again, nobody expected this name. I want to hear your overall thoughts with the offense he runs. I think it was a good choice. I don't know if that was Coach Cristobal's first choice. Obviously, nobody does because nobody expected him to hire Houston's offensive coordinator. So, my first take is that I think this is really going to help Tyler Van Dyke out a lot in this offense. We can get into our depth at wide receiver, running back room. There were a lot of injuries this past season, and offensive line to me still a big question mark. But I think this is going to help Tyler Van Dyke develop, and this offense is going to be better from the past season. But I want to kick it to you, just your overall thoughts of the hire.
This is a guy who was trained under Hal Mummy. So, this is a guy who thoroughly understands how important it is to spread the ball and use speed. He does mix in some power, runs and stuff occasionally, and he does it when it's appropriate. That's what I like about him. He seems to have a good grasp on when it's time to switch to power or switch to finesse. This is a high-scoring offense. He did amazing things at West Virginia, dude, when he was there. 8 straight games with 30 or more points, set a school record while he was there. They averaged like 33.5 points per game that season. Yeah. Over 317 yards, I think, passing per game. This is a prolific, high-powered offense that's going to just pound and pound and give it and give it and give it and give it. And they really just don't seem to have any quit. They just keep going at it for 4 straight quarters, and I love that.
Yeah, it needs to work out, right? It's Tyler Van Dyke's last year of college football. It needs to work out, honestly, because last year was just awful, and I think Tyler Van Dyke will get a chance to play in the NFL. I think he has the tools capable of doing that, and I think last year was awful. It was awful all around, and it just needs to work out offensively. You mentioned 33 points per game. I think the magic number for Miami in past years was 35 points per game, where if they scored 35 points or more, they basically won all the games. I think there was one loss. But if Miami can get to 35 points or more, the defense does its part, letting up 21 points, 28 points. If you get to 35 points or more every single game, that's going to be a successful season. I'm not going to say you're going to go undefeated, but you're going to win a good amount of games, putting up 35 points or more, if the defense holds their own. If not, then you're in a shootout, right? It's like Big 12 style football. Everyone's putting up crazy points. So that's definitely good to hear. Ross, how does Coach Dawson, how's his distribution running the football to airing it out? Is he pretty balanced, or is he more aggressive, maybe airing out the ball or the ground game?
He wants to get the air raid going, is what he wants to do. He wants to air the ball out. He wants to make big, large impact plays, but the run game is still present, and the run game is present with motion, counters, and some very creative 3rd down and 4th down play calling that I noticed actually from him in the run game, which was very unique, which I'm kind of anxious to see at Miami because it was unlike anything I saw last year from us.
I'm curious how it's going to pan out looking at the personnel we have right now. Obviously, we can get more guys from the transfer portal. Kobe Young came from a junior college really late. I think he came in the fall practically. So, looking at the wide receiver, core right now, we do need to add more guys. I personally am a little bit nervous with kind of the rotation we have right now, the amount of depth. You have Xavier Restrepo, Kobe Young, Jacoby George, and Isaiah Horton only has 6 catches in his career. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if how's he going to have the career he's going to have his 2nd season as a sophomore. But unless I'm missing some names, that's really the 4 top of my head going into the season as, hey, they're going to be involved in the rotation, and it's kind of a small number unless I'm not thinking of someone right now that I'm leaving out, but those are the 4. And then the running back room, Trevante Citizen, I believe he's coming off of a torn ACL. He was out the entire year, his freshman year. Don Chaney's whole career has been riddled by injuries, unfortunately. Then Henry Parrish, I think you're going to have a consistent running back there. And then you have the freshman Mark Fletcher coming in, who I'm really excited about. But the running back room, there is a fair amount of depth. It's more about staying healthy, but there is depth there when it's completely healthy. So I'm not as worried about running the football. I'm more about, if we're going to air it out, if we're going to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game, which is what I'd love to see, and I think Tyler Van Dyke plays well when you let him air it out, especially going up tempo, no huddle. I'm curious how it's going to work with this wide receiver rotation that we have right now.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is when I was reviewing film of Shannon Dawson, and of course he had more time to work with his receivers than he's had, of course, to work with Miami receivers. But I saw very good fundamentals, very good basics, very good route running, and very good hands, which are all things that we want to see upgrades at the University of Miami. I don't know if he's the type of guy that can turn a nobody into a somebody. I don't know if he has to, find a guy to exactly fit his system. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the talent that he had at Houston, he maximized it, man.
Right. And, Tommy, makes a point saying this offense is anything like West Virginia's under Geno Smith and Tavon Austin. You can call an offense, you can call an air raid offense that you think would work. But if you don't have the personnel to match that, you might have some issues if you're injury plagued. And it's like, okay, like the guys I had, we're just we're stuck here. Maybe that's what Gaddis wanted to run. We saw that with Enos during his time at Miami. I mean, he really had nothing. He really did. He didn't have anything. I think you can have a good offensive playbook, but if you don't have the appropriate personnel to plug in, because Geno Smith's NFL quarterback, Tavon Austin, incredible college football player. I don't think we have a Tavon Austin at all in this wide receiver corps at all. We don't have him.
Yeah, nobody that's. We have some speed, but nobody that's proven that speed can be utilized like Tavon used his.
And Geno Smith is a veteran NFL quarterback. I haven't seen that from Tyler Van Dyke. I don't know how you can predict a veteran NFL quarterback, but I haven't seen really an NFL. I think he's going to get a chance in the NFL. I don't know if it's like a starting status right off the bat in his first or second, third year. I can't predict that. I don't think I've seen that yet.
Apparently, Shannon Dawson hung up 70 on Kevin Still at Clemson. That's awesome.
Well, look, I mean, we'll slide over to the defense right now. Talk about Lance Guidry, because that was another hire that no one really expected. He was a defensive coordinator at Marshall, takes the job at Tulane, and they beat USC in the Cotton Bowl, I believe. Finished with a top 10 ranking, so that's very impressive. Tulane, but he wasn't a part of that. He was a part of Marshall, which had a top 5 defense in college football, and beat Notre Dame, which wasn't the best college football team by any standard of Notre Dame football, or they just weren't good. They weren't good at all. But I want to talk about Lance Guidry. This is another name nobody saw coming, Ross. Once again, was this Mario's first choice? I have no idea. I don't think both of these guys were Mario's first choice if I had to make an educated guess. But, I mean, what do you think about the hire overall? Both coordinators are coming from G5 programs, but we saw Rhett Lashley in the past. He did come from a G5 program, had some success at Miami, and we've seen tons of guys who come from Power 5 programs who don't have success at Miami. So I don't know what to expect personally. I'm coming in with an open mind. But we can't have a rotation of coordinators every single year unless they're doing such a great job. They're getting better positions at another university that's paying them more, whatever it is, or getting better jobs as head coaches, whatever it is. That's the only rotation I want to see, not because we're letting them go.
The one thing I will say about this defense is it is no longer bend but don't break. This is an aggressive defense that will come at you pretty much every quarter. They are disciplined. They do very good containment on the outside. That's one thing I pay attention to is containment on the outside in the run game with edge guys. They do a fantastic job with that. The basics, tackling, all that stuff. And then running this, running the 4-2-5, mixing in some of these different schemes and stuff, this puts us in a great advantage to be ready for these new age offenses, the RPOs, the spread offenses, all that stuff. That means we can rush guys from various places that we've rarely rushed them from before, and we can drop guys back who have coverage skills for extra coverage when needed. It really opens doors for us.
Yeah, it's pretty evident. Two things the coaching staff want to do in the transfer portal this offseason: the trenches, right? Offensive line, defensive line. They wanted to build the foundation of their offense and defense from the trenches. That's what they wanted to do. Right now, with the personnel we have, Ross, in the D line with our edge rushers, do you think we can play to the scheme Coach Guidry wants to play? Remember, the whole Coach Steele thing going to Alabama for me was a little bit mind-boggling. I mean, the guy gave up, there were 5 games at least with over 45 points, I want to say. I mean, like, shit. It wasn't the prettiest season with Coach Steele by any means.
Yeah.
He probably, I mean, I don't, like, it's a little bit surprising that he wasn't let go either, in my opinion. But, do you think with the personnel we have right now, we'll start off with defensive line, often the edge rushers. Do you think we can play the scheme that Lance Guidry wants to play at Miami with containment?
That's the part I'm worried about the most, honestly, Paul, is the defensive line, and especially the interior defensive line. That's the part that I'm worried about a little bit more in this scheme. I'm a little more confident in the linebackers, and especially in the secondary, since Guidry himself is a DB coach by nature.
Okay.
That's where his specialty is, which isn't a bad thing for us. I mean, we've got some fantastic DB players, but we gotta add some beef, bro, to that defensive line. We gotta identify some transfer guys. Simply put.
And I'll be honest, the Thomas Gore take was interesting to me. It was very. I'm open minded to it. I think it's going to be a depth player at the next level. I don't think he's going to be a dominant. I think what are they lining up at D tackle?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, undersized D tackle.
Don't make the Vince Wilfork. No, sorry, the Bryant. Fucking Chris.
Aaron Donald.
Who?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. How tall was Aaron Donald?
He's not very big either, but definitely.
How tall was Vince Wilfork?
Oh, 6'4".
6'4". Okay, I thought Vince Wilfork was 6'1" or something. I thought Vince Wilfork was 6'1". I'm getting someone confused here. If he's not 6'1", I'm getting someone confused. But if you do know a defensive tackle that's dominating in the NFL and is undersized, I don't want to hear comparisons about that. I'm literally on guard about this upcoming season with the personnel. I'm not expecting. I'm on guard. I'm just taking it one game at a time. Beat Miami, Ohio. The spread 7 points, beat them by 10. I'd be happy. That's my mentality going into the season. And I'm really curious how it's all going to play out. It's new coordinators coming in. It's basically a fresh start for everyone. New playbook. Both sides of the football.
Wilfork was 6'2".
Okay, 6'2". I mean 6'2", right? So yeah, that's not the most dominant size, right? 6'2". Thomas Gore, I don't know, 6 feet. That's a big difference, but so that's one take. I'm curious how it's going to play out. Okay, Aaron Donald 6'2".
One thing I want to say about this DC hire is, and you've heard me mention this before, Paul, about the respect I've had for Tulane and what they've done lately, and especially coming into Florida and finding underrated talent and winning games and getting themselves in the top 15, top 20. They made a smart hire by going after Guidry, in my opinion. I like what Tulane does. I don't mind taking a little bit of what they're doing and bringing it to Miami, honestly.
No.
They're winning. They're winning.
They beat Lincoln Riley with USC in a good USC football program that was ranked 12 playing the Cotton Bowl. They beat them.
Yeah.
They beat them. They did put up a lot of points that game.
If they like Guidry,
it's interesting. We got North Carolina. North Carolina, Phil Longo's leaving. He's taking another position. I forgot what school it was, but they're losing their OC. So they have a good quarterback. That's going to be a game I'm very interested in. We got Florida State in Tallahassee. I mean, they're going to – we'll see what the spread is when we get there. We got Clemson, who, I mean, we talk about Klubnik all the time. He's a very good quarterback. Dabo Sweeney is not messing around this season.
No.
He brought in Jeff Scott as like an analyst role. So, like, this is good. Those 3 games to me are big tests. I think we got Boston College last game of the year, and we also got Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is always a decent football program. Texas A&M, I don't know what to expect from Jimbo Fisher. We're playing them at home. I'm more favorable with that game. I think it's going to be a close game, but still an SEC football program. We got them at home. Take care of business. But, I'm really curious how Lance Guidry specifically, with the personnel we have, is going to work out. How does he utilize James Williams? That's a big question mark for me.
Yeah.
How is James Williams going to be utilized? Because, what we've seen so far in his Miami Hurricanes career, has he really taken that next step? A lot of people want to see James Williams play closer to the box in coverage. I don't want to use the word awkward, but he doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable out there. He's more comfortable, playing closer to the box, tackling an open space at times. Yeah, he looks good at times. Not all the time, though. So, if someone's uncomfortable, move him around. He's 6'5". Like he's built like a defensive end, edge rusher. He's athletic. Use him around. So I'm curious how he's going to really tap into this personnel. The person I'm least worried about, Cam Kitchens, I think he's going to do very well this upcoming season. So, cornerback play is also, that's an interesting position group. We brought in transfers, which we needed to do. We lost Tyreek Stevenson, lost DJ Ivey. We got a lot of young guys there and a lot of transfers. It's going to be an interesting year defensively.
The one thing that I can guarantee that we will see with this defense this year, Paul, is there will be more speed on the field than there was last year, because that's what Guidry basically predicates this defense on, is speed. He wants to match the offenses that we're going to be facing, and I don't see anything wrong with that. That gives opportunities to guys like Chase Smith, maybe.
God, I mean, look, we haven't that's a name coming in, Ross, where everybody was saying this guy can play multiple positions. Where do we even play him? He's going to be a stud. I haven't heard Chase Smith's name once.
No,
I haven't heard his name once, Ross.
First off, he was never going to fit into the defense that Phil Steele was running. I have no problem admitting that openly. I think that this defense fits him much better, but of course, it's still up in the air. It's still just he's a project. We don't know yet. He's got great size, great athleticism. We hope he turns into the player we want him to be, but proof is in the pudding. We got to see the proof.
And I could be wrong. I think Chase Smith's been here for 3 years, correct?
2 or 3 years, yeah. I know he hasn't been healthy this spring, though.
In his career at Miami, he's seen 3 different defensive coordinators: Blake Baker, Coach Steele. Now he's going to have Lance Guidry.
Yeah.
We're not Alabama, where these players come in and it's just a completely different culture. We're not there. We're not like Georgia, where they can flip-flop, they can rotate, where it's like, hey, this is our culture. Abide by it or get lost. And everyone's bought in. This is how development gets lost. This is how players get lost in the mix at programs that aren't at that level compared to Alabama, Georgia, your Clemson's, Ohio State's. Mario Cristobal still is trying to set his culture, his regimen at Miami. We saw that this offseason. You're not buying in. You don't think it's going to work out here. You don't want to buy into the culture. I'm trying to lay my foundation. Okay. Hey, best of luck at another program, right? We saw that. Jalen Knighton, Avonte Williams. Who else? I mean, there's been so many. It's been literally close to 20.
Yeah. The one
Chase Smith, he's been lost in all this. Development it sucks. Development doesn't happen, and it affects a lot of players. So we need to get this right, these hires, because we can't have more flip-flop. We can't. Now we're just keep going backwards, and the elite programs, they're taking 10 steps forward, and it's too far away. It's too far.
The one thing that I was reading about Guidry, and it's something that's been a big complaint, honestly, here at Miami for a while, about how we don't make proper in-game adjustments, or we're not adaptable, or we're not willing to be adaptable. That is something that Guidry really kind of strives in, honestly. He does a very good job at adapting in game, not just after game, talking about it, in the film room and stuff when it's too late. He does it in game, and he's very flexible and very adaptable, and he's willing to try different stuff. That's okay with me.
Hey, I want to see it. I want to see it live. We got a tough schedule this year. You got Miami, Ohio, and then you got Texas A&M at home. Regardless of how last season was for them, it was pretty bad for us too.
Yeah.
So Jimbo Fisher's on the hot seat. Mario Cristobal is feeling pressure because no one liked last season. He's not on the hot seat by any means, but he's feeling pressure, right? People are upset. There's no momentum. There's no energy in this program. It's like, people are upset from last year, rightfully so.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's an interesting game. This is going to be a very interesting season. You're going up to Florida State, like Mike Norvell. Everyone made fun of this guy. They said he was goofy, weird, sucks at recruiting. Well, guess fucking what? They're getting better every year, and they're going to have a top 5 team this upcoming season. They are going to have a legit football program, and we're playing them at their house in Doak Campbell Stadium.
They're looking to make a mess out of us, dude.
They're coming for our throats. So yes. we better be ready, because they are coming for our throats, and they know they have us drowning in the water.
I really hope that Cristobal allows these new coaches to come in and do what they do best, and not try to pigeonhole them to certain things or power this, power that. We do got to get a little bit more into the finesse and speed era of football, especially on defense. And thankfully, I think we do have a DC that understands that. Will it work at Miami? We have no guarantees on that. But
it's just offseason talk, and I'm tired of it. I'm talking, oh, look at this. Blake Baker, man, this is going to be such a great hire. Oh, man, Dan Enos. I hear it every year. I hear it every year. I'm ready to see year one. How do we perform? And then go from there, get better. I don't want to see coordinators get fired year after year. Okay, these are the results. Are we going to get better? Because look at it. Perfect example, Chase Smith, 3 different coordinators in 3 years. We can't have that. We can't. We're not at an elite level. We are. I don't think we're middle of the road last year. Bottom of the barrel.
I will say that I do think TVD is a good fit for this new offense.
Yeah, I think it will be great.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit for it. I watched their quarterback in a couple games, and if any fans really want to get a good idea of what's going on with Houston, watch the Memphis game. It was a 42-41 game they pull out at the end. You really get to see some of the tricks and stuff that Shannon Dawson really pulled out to help that team win that game. It was impressive. My
issue is just I think the running backs are going to be fine. I really do. O-line, that's also something I can't have an answer for, because I think Cohen's going to step up. He's going to do well. I think Lee from UCF, he's going to do his part. We're getting the first team assembled. It's the second team I'm more. I don't that's mind blowing to me. The shuffling, the changing of the positions, I can talk about for a while. But the main issue I have is the wide receiver core. I don't think the personnel coming in, I do not feel comfortable with. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't at all.
The transfer portal still has to be explored. It still has to be something that we reach into. I mean, it's just that plain and simple. We see where we're missing talent, Paul. We know where we're missing talent. It's not a mystery. It's not just some clueless thing. We both see it. But I'm not seeing us getting these guys that we really need to fill these holes with. And I
think we've missed. I think we missed. There was a wide receiver from USC in the portal. We didn't pick him up. From Oregon, he was I think it was Thompson or something like that. He was 6'5". He didn't pick Miami. I think we're just missing on guys at wide receiver. And part of that was, they probably told him, hey, Gaddis is not going to be here.
Yeah.
We're going to get a new OC. It's okay, you don't have an OC, though. I don't know who your offensive coordinator is, for example, So now we have an OC. We have the guy. Now they'll probably evaluate someone from the portal or from the junior college ranks because we need to. We can't go into the season with this personnel. In football, there's going to be injuries. That's just the nature of the sport. It's a physical sport. You're getting in literally a car accident every single play. Okay? You have to have depth. And when you don't have a lot of depth, you're just praying. You're hoping that position unit, that wide receiver rotation does not get hurt. And last year, half the team got hurt. So, I mean, you need to add guys. I can't be – and, yeah, Leonard Hankerson, I think, that would be cool. That would be a great, addition. He played in the NFL. He played at Miami.
He's coaching in the NFL.
Yeah. He's coaching the NFL.
Yeah.
So there, it could work. I mean, unless, seems like everyone who names coaching candidates for Miami, it tends to be another guy from nobody even, thought of. So, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm tired of the offseason talk. It's getting old. Show me your results.
I'm just curious, with the transfer portal talk and all that, junior college as well. I mean, are you open to just any type, whoever we can add, basically, who can help us from wherever?
Look, if the coaches think he's going to make an impact, as a role player, I'm not saying I want stars. Like, just because a guy transfers in doesn't mean he's going to be a star at college, at Miami. It really never pans out, to be honest. They become rotation guys or depth players. It's really what it's been. Kobe Young was like, wow, he's really playing well. Yeah. But that we don't see that a lot. So
that took time.
Right. So, if the staff thinks, hey, this guy's coming from junior college, I think he can make an impact at some capacity, bring him on.
I'm open for it and I'm hoping that we're willing to give guys like the Colby Youngs of the world and stuff like that their opportunities earlier in the season. I mean, I could see, where, hey, if Colby Young and Xavier Restrepo stay healthy, that could be a very positive thing for this offense going forward. It really could. Those are two key guys that flat out made plays for us when other guys weren't making plays for us. Without them, though, what do we got?
Ross, I just thought of this real quick. I want to hear your perspective because Charlie Strong was on this staff, and his resume is better than Lance Guidry. It is. If you think otherwise, okay. I mean, it's your opinion, but I think I think Charlie Strong had a very elite resume. Why do you think they did not hire Charlie Strong? Because that was mind-blowing to me. And even Charlie Strong said it. Miami's going a different direction, so will I. He thought, he was good. He should have gotten the job as well.
Yeah. From what I understood, there was just a little bit too much of an old school approach that he was going to stick by, and we wanted to really try to get into the future a little more. And they feel like Charlie Strong's time kind of passed him by. I don't personally feel that. I feel like he's still got some value left, but it just seemed like the staff felt like he wasn't going to head us in the direction of adding more speed to the defense, which seemed to be the priority this offseason.
Hey, Coach Cristobal, I hope you made the right choice. Charlie Strong doesn't think he did. I thought he would be an easy transition, perfect hire. He's already coached the players, but we'll see what happens. I hope it works out. I'm not expecting instant, incredible results. I know it's going to take time. But I'm not here for the offseason talk and overhyping random players that just transfer in and all this stuff, expecting the entire freshman class to be All-Americans because that's getting old. Anything else you want to touch up about the staff? I know Tim Harris Jr. is a running backs coach at Miami. He coached at Booker T. Washington. His father, Tim Ice Harris. I mean, he was coaching at Booker T for such a long time. I think he was even on staff for the Miami Hurricanes as well. Overall, I think it's a good hire. It's he's from Miami, coached at Booker T. Washington, played there, knows the area more than anyone else. Like I said, it's a good hire. I don't think anyone thinks it's a bad hire. And then I think it's Derek Nicholson as the linebackers coach.
Yep.
So, just want to hear your thoughts about that.
I like Nicholson. I actually really do like Nicholson. That was a good hire in my opinion. Tim Harris absolutely has nothing but respect in the areas where we need him to recruit in. You know, that's one of the things that Mario Cristobal absolutely loves. He's got a guy in his backyard right there that can recruit right in the backyard. I can see why they brought him up. The dude has tons of respect from all angles of the state of Florida and elsewhere, honestly, too. He's earned it. Nicholson, he is a guy who, like I mentioned, I think he fits in well with Guidry because he likes speed as well. So I think that this is kind of a good match between those two.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. Your coaching staff is the backbone of your college football program. Comes with recruiting and development.
Yes.
I think we've had recruiting the past few years. It's been there. I think recruiting ranking wise, we're like number 2 after Clemson in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
But we haven't had nearly anything close to the results Clemson has, and Florida State is taking 5 steps ahead of Miami. You like it or not, that's the truth. And they have a very good team this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Miami, big question mark. Nefarious 24/7 says it best. Thank you for the donation. Miami needs players. We do. We need help at specific positions. So that's all I got, Ross. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up for tonight's show?
I was Mr. HD nailed it. Actually, what I was just going to bring up before we ended the show, Nicholson was the one who was a big player in getting TJ Capers to commit to Louisville.
Great, bring him on board. I need to see development as well from these commits. Chase Smith was a player highly regarded.
Yeah,
I haven't heard his name once at the University of Miami.
It means nothing until production happens.
Exactly. And that comes with, stability as well instead of rotating coordinators and coaching staff every single year.
Yes. I believe it, man. I believe it.
All right. Well, hey, and if you got anything else, Ross, then it's a wrap for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. It's the off season. I am looking forward to the season. I'm taking one game at a time. We got Miami, Ohio. You got spring practice before that, obviously. You got fall. We got a long way to go, but I'm not watching a spring game and getting excited. I see the Miami, Ohio game. The spread's 10 points. We win that game. Great. Move on. Texas A&M. We win that game. Great. Got Bethune-Cookman. We win that game. Amazing. We're supposed to beat Bethune-Cookman, right?
Yeah.
So one game at a time is my mentality, and I'm keeping it real. If I see a player transfer in, I'm not gonna compare James Williams to Sean Taylor.
No.
Yeah, because some people, a lot of people did, and that was dumb. So I'm not gonna do that.
I won't either.
I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, that's where I stand. And hey, thanks again for tuning in tonight. Hope everyone has a great night.
We'll catch you guys soon.
Did you end the broadcast?
Yep. It's closing out.
Nah, I still have live on my end.
It just says not yet.